So Trae Young had his latest episode of the From the Point podcast, where on back on June 9th, where he talked about the idea of wanting more. Here's his quote: "You always feel like you want more, like there's more out there. I mean, obviously, I haven't won anything. I haven't really won anything, to be honest with you. I've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is cool, but in my eyes, if you don't win that championship, it ain't enough." So he went on to say that this year I didn't shoot the ball the best. I don't want to blame it on anything, but I feel like I could have been a lot better. I'm going to, sorry, I know I'm going into next year. I'm going to be a lot better and getting back to what my standards are for myself and even getting that higher. Now, I give him credit. Again, taking some honesty, again, kind of self-reflecting on things like that. I mean, he wasn't that good. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball very well. His raw numbers are outstanding, right? I mean, 27 points, 10 assists and things like that. But when you dive deeper into things and you see more of the game, again, he was a guy that struggled as well. Had a lot of other guys that struggled along with him. John Collins did not have a very good year for whatever reason. DeAndre Hunter was a really mixed bag throughout the regular season. Some nights he would be really good. Some nights he'd be just disappearing from this team. Murray was pretty consistent. Capella was pretty consistent for what they asked him on. But, look, if this franchise is going to get where we want it to be, if this franchise is going to get to that next level and to that, ultimate championship level, Trae Young is going to lead us there. He's going to be the guy that's going to lead us in all of this. And he's the one guy that I've said that I don't think that he gets moved, and I don't think that there's any desire to move him or what have you. He says, I'm not necessarily trying to just chase that, but I know if I do, it's getting my teammates involved, just making everybody else everybody else around me get paid. That's important to me. So that's really the main thing for me, is just trying to get my teammates involved and trying to lead the league in assists every year, because I know that's going to make my teammates happier. It's tough when you're declining and when you go from the conference finals down, but it's also hard to get to that point. Well, again, look, it's not been a last couple of years that has been a banner year for Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. And, again, it's been a situation where as Trae Young goes, the Atlanta Hawks go. And we've talked about maybe that's not necessarily a good thing. Maybe that's not necessarily a good thing that everything has to be on Trae Young to do everything. And certainly, look, getting his teammates involved and all that good kind of stuff, that's all great. And I can appreciate all of that. But, he's a guy that also needs to be better. And sometimes the best way is not just getting your teammates involved, but leading by example. Sometimes the best way that you can do things is to lead by example, where Trae Young plays well, he shoots well, and all these other little things that go along with it. And maybe that, motivates guys to be better in their game and have to elevate and step up their game, because they're looking at their teammate and saying, well, if he's doing this, I got to carry my load. I got to carry the weight for what I have to do. So this is why this, again, now we're officially into the off season, right? Draft is 8 days away. I mean, draft is a week from Thursday, right? And that player will be most likely stashed and dashed when it comes to, going down to the Skyhawks. I mean, again, that guy's going to get off a plane, and instead of taking a northbound train on MARTA to head up to somewhere, he's going to probably take that shuttle bus, that shuttle train or whatever like that drops you off in College Park, and he's going to go right to the arena. Right? I mean, that would be my plan. I mean, what I don't even worry about what the 15th pick is going to be in this draft. I worry about basically what this guy's going to do, come a few years from now. We'll worry about all that. I got to get my regular roster right. And Trae is obviously a huge part of all of that. And again, it's not fair, but as we've always said, as Trae goes, this franchise goes. And I thought that we would have moments that we would get out of some of that, where we don't have to rely on Trae Young for everything, that we've got a good core all the way around. The Warriors don't count on Steph Curry for every single thing. They rely on Draymond Green to be that defensive stopper and that rebounder. They rely on Klay Thompson to be that great shooter. So, again, we have to find those role pieces to go along with Trae Young. That's why I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen with this roster. I'm fascinated to see what this thing is going to look like at the end of the day. I think there's changes that are coming, but certainly Trae with a moment of reflection about the fact that he hasn't won anything. He wants to get his teammates better. But I will say that the best thing Trae Young can do is lead by example, elevate his own game. And if your teammates can't come up with you, then you probably don't have the right teammates. It doesn't have to all be on Trae Young to motivate and lead these guys. It's on Trae Young to play really well. And then what do they say? That the high tide rises all ships? That's the scenario for the Atlanta Hawks. It's not just Trae Young that's got to be better. Everybody's got to be better along with it. And if Trae Young leads by example, more than just trying to get people involved, if he leads by example, then we can get to where we need to be. And if somebody's not carrying their weight, then you got to figure out how to either get rid of that person or you make them better. That's for Quinn Snyder and those guys to figure all of that out. So it's going to be a fascinating offseason. We're certainly excited about everything along with it. And look, starts with the draft. We'll get that out of the way. And then here comes free agency. And I'll be fascinated to see what the Hawks do to navigate their way through the waters of this roster. That are they going to be a luxury tax team or not? If we're not going to be a luxury tax team, then we got all kinds of problems that we'll discuss down the road as we figure it all out. All right, as you make Hittin' Hard your first listen, make sure you go into the comment section of whatever podcast platform that you're listening on and let us know that you're an everyday listener to the program. We like to call them our everydayers, and we thank you so much for being a part of our community. Check us out on all your platforms, but when you go in, leave us a comment that let us know that you're an everydayer, as we like to say, that you listen into Hittin' Hard 5 days a week, and we thank you so much for being a part of our community.